So Farron, Jericho comes up to you. Is that like you haven't gathered a crowd with a 16, but like there's probably a couple people who are like watching and listening, and there's probably again a couple of Norsemen who like stop for a moment and go by. So there's eyes on you, but not anyone you like gathered around until Jericho, who it probably takes you a second. You probably think you've got one. And then you realize it, like, it's just Jericho, and he's like, dude, stop playing. Like,
Grandmother Tannheiser claps completely off the beat.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So what do you say, Jericho, when you arrive there? Or what do you say? How do you initiate it's time for phase 2? Do you say anything, Farron?
I mean, I suppose I'd have to wait for him to finish with whatever he's performing.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say you finish a song. You recognize the look on Jericho's face to, like, hey, I'm here, I have stuff to share. You can stop playing now.
Old lady, are you lost, perchance? As I go up to her and him. Pronouns.
Uh-huh.
And what?
He said pronouns.
Pronouns.
It can get confusing.
Fair enough. Yeah, Jericho will sort of totter over to him. Oh yes, dear, it's wonderful to see. Anyway, like, they've got ghouls stationed around that temple. Dressed like normal people, I think one of us should probably try to talk to them. I could just sort of blunder into it and pretend I don't realize they're undead. Oh dearie, can you help an old lady out? But either way, it looks to me like they're trying to make that place as safe as possible for the undead.
Aye. Any ideas of what or how we would get in there?
Probably not visibly, but I suppose that depends on how well they've warded it magically. Doesn't look like there are people going in and out too often, but I suppose I could always just shift to an undead disguise. That's roughly within the limits of what this cloak can do.
Yeah, like, if somebody cut you, you would still bleed, but you could look...
Yeah.
Basically, you could look like you have, like, pestilence, right? Like...
Yeah.
You can make yourself look pockmarked and ghoulish, certainly.
I mean, yes, but don't the undead search by your life force?
I'll be honest, I haven't actually had to do that much research into how they smell the living. Could I not just, be rank and that would more or less cover it? They can't actually smell life, can they?
Well, since it is their food source, I would say that in, like, the immediate vicinity, they might be able to figure it out, but the advantage that you would have is you're also surrounded by a lot of other living beings, right? Like, there's living people all over the place.
Yeah.
So, unless they were, and also, unless they were commanded to do something to you, it seems like these are placeholders, let's say.
I mean, I'm open to suggestions if you think we should try something else, but one way or another, I'd like to see what's inside. So it's either that or invisibility.
Invisibility is very good. I mean, just sneaking in, being super stealthy is an option, which isn't impossible for us, I don't think.
Should be fine. I mean, I admit I don't really know your repertoire. Decent ballad, not quite the crowd for it, but I did enjoy it.
Hardly the best stage for it, you might imagine.
I mean, it takes courage just to perform in a place like this.
but I grew up in the shadows, so I know my way to disappear.
Yeah. I grew up here, so you can imagine. Anyway, well then, invisibility, what do you think? Through the roof, or just sneak through whatever open door we can find?
So, not to metagame for you, Farron, but don't you have polymorph as well?
I do.
So you arguably have a thing that you could do as well. Because do you actually have invisibility yourself?
I don't have invisibility.
Yeah.
I mean, just polymorph into a huge crocodile. Any people, come on.
I can't just use a higher spell slot to put it on both of us.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
actually didn't know that was a thing with invisibility, but yeah, totally. You could just do that too.
But now I won't see cute bunny Farron. Sad.
I'm afraid it would probably be a rat.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Rats can be cute.
Mice can be cute.
Yeah, rats are not.
Master Splinter. Come on.
Okay, Master Splinter is adorable. Yeah, that's true. I'll concede
And
that
he
point.
even lives in a sewer.
He does. He does. I will concede that point. So yeah, no, you could totally invisibility. I mean, there's a time limit on that, right? You got to kind of run, because that obviously can't be maintained for an extended period of time. But it would give you at least a glance into what you haven't seen yet, right? Like you could garner some information from that.
I mean,
And the worst case scenario is you get caught and die. So.
polymorph is an hour, but I think we already ascertained that I wouldn't actually be able to listen to conversations.
Yeah, so because we don't want it to just be used as wild shape, right? From the druid category, you like as a rat, you understand who you are and what you are, but like maintaining like the rat wouldn't be able to understand conversations or understand what's going on. Like, you would see everything as a rat would see everything. So it'd be all kind of black and white and blurry, and things would look way larger and sound way different, and yeah, it'd be disorienting. Like, the thing you would maintain as that is what you see, right? Like, that, obviously, you would maintain. But as a rat, it may look way different than as a human would perceive things to happen. So, there is a disadvantage there.
How long is invisibility again?
Also an hour.
Yeah, I think probably invisibility is our best bet then.
Right then.
Okay. So, the two of you, where do you find a place
to be?
Yeah. So I think that both of you roll me a stealth check. I'll just take the average, just to make sure you're not like spotted ducking into a building or going behind something. It's not gonna be a particularly hard check, but just want to make sure. No problem. I think that comes out to like a 15. So yeah, not a big deal at all.
That was much worse than anyone expected it to be.
Yeah, but it is certainly enough to duck out of the way of these servants that are just kind of hanging out on the streets, right? Or Norsemen that are probably drunk already. Certainly enough to do so. And you get into like this building here, and Jericho, you summon up the power to turn you both invisible.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that you
Just
place your hand
tap
on his
and
shoulder.
done.
Yeah, and then you both invisible, and then I think we switch to, I think we switch over to Hannibal.
Yo.
So Hannibal, you are going to go scope out the Mad Alchemist, right?
Yep, I am.
Okay, cool. And you said you're going basically just in clothes, right? No mask, no weapons, just no like survival pack, right? I assume you can conceal the rod pretty well. I assume you take that.
Yeah, I had it betwixt my cheeks.
Gross. What else? What else? It was a good word, though. I will say that.
Am I able to pocket the potion?
Yeah, the love potion's small. It's fairly small.
I'm gonna take that with me. You never know when that might be of use.
Yeah, totally.
It could get me out of a sticky situation, or get me into one.
Phrasing.
Deafening silence.
Damn, I thought that was good.
It was really good, but it also phrasing.
Flawlessly executed. It's just that no one wanted you to.
Yeah,
It was all about
the key.
intent.
Yeah. It was flawlessly executed and a great joke, but none of us wanted to go there.
All right, let me just check my inventory real quick to see if there's anything else I want to take. Okay. I do have something.
Okay. What else do you want to...
What the fuck?
What?
Why in God's name do I have this?
I don't know. You're probably not supposed to have it at this point.
I have a potion of finding.
I
Yeah, I bought that with the love potion.
Oh, right. Yeah. I know what it is now. Yep.
I'll take that with me.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave Grokin's axe.
Yeah, you're not going to carry the great axe into the city?
Nope. I'm going to take my poultice though.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, no, that's it.
Okay, cool. So you...
Oh, and a dagger hidden in a shoe.
Yeah, absolutely. You can have a dagger for sure. So you set off. You begin walking through the district, and I think that what you find right away is... Because you're going maskless, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what you find right away is the living population shies away from you. Because they either believe you to be demonic in some way, or, they just... Normally, people with brutal injuries are way more common, but in this scenario, someone with a brutal injury like this either A, has pissed someone off they weren't supposed to, and received this as a mark of dishonor, B, one of the enemy, or C, actually has some deathly disease that might kill them. And so I think kind of either way, more so than usual, a disfiguring injury kind of makes it so they don't interact with you, which is probably to your advantage, to be honest. And you're making your way, and what is your cover story should anybody, ask you about it?
I am... What's his name? Doc Mannix.
Yeah, Doc Manic.
I am Doc Manic's servant, and he sent me out to fetch this, and I'll take out the poultice.
Doc Manic. Oops. Okay, yeah, so you're going to use the poultice that you have and roll with that. Okay, sounds great. And this is Brutilda. No, it's Garulda. Whoops. Garulda. There we go. Cool. Absolutely. So I think that once you enter into the... I assume you take... you go up to entrance 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so once you kind of, you scope out and make sure everything's cool, you squeeze out of the little tiny hole right by the fountain, you put the grate back, and as you're walking through the merchant district, it seems to, the hammers are ringing in the blacksmith shops. You can hear the sound of, the tanners scraping along their leather. You can hear the sound, you can smell kind of the coal being burned in the forges and stuff here. The merchant district appears to be, if you didn't know what was going on here, everything would seem normal. Which is probably a little weird, right? And as you enter into the Ostwald district, right by Southgate, I think you probably are accosted by one or two, like, just traveling Norsemen, because they see you, and one of them probably comes up to you and he's like, "Hi, what are you doing?"
I'm sorry. I'm Doc Mannix.
You don't even get to finish. The two of them kind of raise their hands a little bit and back away.
I'm sorry. I haven't had a mistake. Yeah, I just begin to scuttle off.
Yeah.
Like, I'm walking around with kind of like a defeated look.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's how they expected you, right, to be. But also, as soon as you said the name, they were not. They didn't care anymore.
Yeah, they were like, I don't want to fuck with him.
Yep. That is precisely what they did.
So I'm gonna note that information because that's gonna be fucking handy as shit.
That's gonna be a handy piece of information, yes. And so you eventually arrive kind of in the general vicinity, because again, you weren't given an exact location. You were given like I think they're like down by 2nd Street or Marionette Street, in the Ostwald district. And so you kind of are like checking signs and going through and searching. And I think that what clues you in to you being in the right area is you hear a scream, like a screech. And it's like, and then silence. And you probably you go and you investigate a little bit, and you hear a door open, and you hear like of like something being tossed out of it. And the door closes, and as you round a corner onto like a street, you see that there appears to be there's a body lying on the ground, just outside of it, and it looks human, male. He's got like long, kind of knotted, matted black hair, that kind of was like he's lying face down. It's kind of like covering over all of his face. Appears to be wearing like rags, no shoes. Looks kind of like a bum. And doesn't appear to be moving either.
Okay, is there anybody else around?
No.
I'm gonna flip the body over, get a look at its face, see if there's any signs.
You roll the body over, and you see that the face is engorged, almost like this. You can see the skin is stretched. You can see it appears that the face is very puffy and grotesque. The eyes are swollen shut. The lips are, like so big that they appear to be bursting, and you can see little rivulets of blood running down the softer tissue areas. It's kind of gross, even for you, Hannibal. But the person appears to be dead.
Sure.
You hope.
Can I make a check? I know it's poison. Can I make a check to see?
Yeah, roll me a medicine check. Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like a form of poison. Certainly.
Would I know with the 20?
You would know things that do this kind of stuff. Typical things that cause swelling of this nature are related to natural poisons, so like poisons from scorpions, from snakes, that kind of stuff. But whatever dosage or whatever thing this man was given or is affecting him appears to be highly concentrated. And I should note, you see no form of like injection site or anything like that.
Can I try to open his mouth?
Yeah. So you kind of like open his mouth.
Just like grab his chin and
pull his head up. Sure. As you do that, I think that the mouth kind of parts and it makes a little O, and you can see that all of the teeth appear to be gone. Also, I think that when you pick it up, you don't feel a jaw bone.
Oh. So it seems as though dissection or
Maybe it's just
experimentation.
not there. Like I said, you don't see any incisions or anything.
Incisions. Magic's afoot.
Perhaps. Certainly.
Time to investigate. I let the body just drop.
Yeah, you just like kind of like let him fall.
Oh, just a piece of shit. I don't know. Bye. And I walk away. And what's the place that he came out of?
It's there's a door with kind of a faded sign swinging from it, right? And it looks like it has like it probably looks like it has like a tailoring symbol on it, like a needle and a thread. But the paint's all kind of chipped away, and the name is long gone by now.
Okay.
And the windows are like very dark and kind of dusty, and very hard to like see through unless you were to like walk up and try to like rub one of them away.
It seems like a bad idea. Is there any other entrances?
I think that there's the front door and there's a back door, and that's probably about it. But it's a multi-story building. It's probably about 3 stories tall, and it's connected to other buildings kind of around, right? Because it's all kind of a lattice of buildings and connections, especially in the more congested areas like where you're at right now.
Okay, now I have a new cover story.
Okay.
But first off, I'm what's the name of the big guy?
What big guy?
The fatso. Yeah, what's his deal again? I'm sorry.
He just owns a lot of slaves and is very gluttonous.
He's very what?
He owns a lot of slaves and he's very gluttonous.
Oh, you know what? No, I'm gonna go with Gerulda.
Garulda? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a knock. See if anybody opens the door.
Yeah, so you rap, and a few minutes you hear a voice from inside. He's like, "Oi, give me a second. Give me a second. I'll be there. Yes, yes, I'm coming. Try not to knock so loud." The door like rips open, and towering in the frame, seemingly like too big to be allowed, you see a giant. Hannibal knows what orcs are, right?
Yes, I do.
You see an orc with the big protruding jaw and the tusks that come up. Appears to be wearing like a butcher's apron that has some blood on it. And just opens it up, and you can see a very crude like medical symbol that's just kind of like haphazardly painted on the front, but it's kind of crooked too. And you can see the individual, he has this kind of like gauntlet on. That has like a bunch of these like little needles sticking out of it, and he's like, "Oi, what you want?" And that's probably where we flash to Morella, traveling through Westgate. So Morella, you want to go scope out Gerulda's place, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that how are you traveling? As I've asked everybody else.
Like, as in what terms?
What are you taking with you, knowing that if anybody sees a weapon or a shield or armor on you, you'll be probably killed?
Yeah, if I travel with armor, it'd probably be a bad time.
Or any weapons that are visibly out. Unless you think you can pass for a Norse woman, I guess. And also hope that no Norse
Are you saying
no
something,
Norsemen or
Brian?
women. Yeah, I actually don't know what he means there, to be perfectly honest.
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Yeah. Marilla will remember this. But,
it might be easier to say what you're taking with you,
yeah.
as opposed to what you're leaving behind.
I mean, again, the original intent was to find said person,
Mhm.
quote unquote, and hunt. And if I can't take anything without looking too suspicious, what's the point of going?
Okay. Like you don't want to like have a dagger with you or anything like that. Again, you could take stuff, but you'll also have to roll a pretty hard
Right.
stealth check to get over there. And if you fail it,
Yeah.
it's gonna cause some bad things, and then who will get blamed for going out all by themselves and getting caught then?
Yeah.
Still fair.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Still Farron.
He should have stuck with me.
Obviously.
Oh man, that's funny.
It's like you're new to this campaign.
It's true.
Right?
So yeah, what's the answer, Marla? I'm sorry.
Well, I suppose then with this, it's not necessarily taking anything. It's actually just doing that reconnaissance.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were doing in the first place. I guess I was confused on it. I thought you just wanted to go get a location so that when need to, or like when a better opportunity presents itself,
Yeah.
you can act on it.
Okay. Yeah. See, I misinterpreted it as I'm going to go murder hobo some bitch.
I mean,
But-
again, you can try, but
I mean,
I'm telling you, it's a low percentage
I don't
shot.
doubt my abilities in murdering. I doubt my abilities in keeping it as much of a secret for a while.
Yeah. Somebody's gonna hear the sound of a duel for 30 seconds going on somewhere. Yeah.
Probably.
And also, from what you've heard of Gerulda, she's one to surround herself with a lot of things and people.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Then I guess we're going to do the whole reconnaissance.
Okay.
Spiel.
So you take off your armor for the first time in ever.
No, I've
Since you bathed in Nuln, sorry.
I've taken it off obviously somewhere else, but
So you take off your
Yeah.
armor. What kind of equipment do you take with you that will be inconspicuous?
close.
Okay, so just clothes.
Yep. No dagger, nothing. Because in my head, she's deadly enough without a weapon.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
if she really needs to defend herself, she
Yeah,
doesn't
I mean, at this point,
dagger.
you're basically like Lee from Naruto when you take off all of the armor and stuff.
Yeah.
You're like 1,000 pounds lighter, and so you can just move with the speed of sound, right?
Yeah.
By the way, if anyone's curious, that's not how real life works. But yes, no, you certainly have enough athletic skill that you could like knock somebody out pretty quickly.
Just
Yep.
an armed punch can do about as much damage as my
Yeah.
hammer, so
Yeah, especially since you have like max strength. So yeah, absolutely, you could certainly
Yeah.
take somebody out. if
I
need
could
be.
fuck up someone if I really wanted to, even with my fist.
So you head off. You take the route to entrance 1, probably a bit after Hannibal has left.
Yep.
And you begin walking. What is your cover story?
Cover story for Garuda, who has a male harem.
She does.
Goddamn.
You may not have chose the correct one on the first go, but hey, you know what? We're just gonna go with it.
It's fine. Cause I suppose if it's a harem, so like I'm assuming that all of the like this harem does everything for her, feeds her,
Yeah,
whatever, things of that sort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what you are led to believe.
Okay. Then I suppose, how would I fucking do this? I have no idea, because I was expecting more of like murder hobo, and now that I actually
Well,
have,
I can give you a moment to think about it and go to somebody else.
yeah,
Okay.
give me a moment.
So Aelin and Obek, you guys are helping people, and it's kind of getting late. Everybody's kind of turning in for the night, and you guys are tired. You've had a long, arduous day, obviously. And if you remember, I described this as having like a couple of different locations. There's like the housing area, and then there's like the marketplace area where the mayor is, and then there's like the armory, and then there's like the freshwater area, like where the well is, and then there's obviously like the other exits and entrances to the location. And so when you guys were like doing your rounds, I think that when you were over by the well area, Obek, I think that you found yourself very like wanting of water, which isn't odd for a lizardman, right? Like water is kind of not sacred.
It's my thing.
Yeah, it's kind of your thing.
Yo.
And so you probably go over and you know you grab, perhaps they have like ladles and stuff to like put into containers, and to drink out of, obviously. And there's nobody like standing around guarding it. Like the water is free for anyone who wants it. Luckily, that's the one thing they have aplenty here. And you go up, and I think that as you're like you're stirring water and you're ladling it, and you bring it up to your lips. As you bring it up to your lips, Aelin, you hear a sound. Bzzz. And your top begins to go off.
Oh no.
Sad.
What do you do?
Cries and turns.
I just start sobbing. No, I would immediately it's just gonna be weird, but I would immediately grab the hand of the wrist, I guess. Yeah, the wrist of Obek, and say, we have to go, and run immediately to Garfield? That's his name, right?
Yeah, so as soon you grab his wrist, and she kind of like knocks the ladle out of your hand, and you stand up, and Aelin at the top stops.
I let go of his wrist and reach into my pocket to just find the top to see if I'm just like all of a sudden deaf because I'm so afraid of what's going on.
Yeah, it seems to be standing perfectly still. Obek, scale of 1 to confused.
How crazy do I sound right now?
Not that crazy. What's wrong?
I don't actually know. Did you hear a moment ago this high-pitched Obek, do me a favor. Take the water and bring it back up to your lips again. Just humor me for a moment. And she like picks up the ladle off the ground, which I assume he dropped, and like goes to hand it back to him.
Yeah.
If I die,
No.
I want you
Obek,
forever.
Obek, please. You will not die in my presence. Don't you worry.
Forever.
And even if you do, I will just heal you. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
It's fine. Please. It's fine.
Wink, wink, snap neck. Wink, wink.
Aelin's doing the whole like
Shots
encouraging
back.
him to do it again thing.
Yeah, you're like
Go on,
guiding
go
his
on now.
hand, right? Yeah.
Try again.
So Obek, you like, I assume you hesitantly do this.
Yeah, very suspiciously staring at Aelin the whole time.
Aelin's not looking at you anymore. She's expectantly looking at the top.
Yeah, and so as you bring it up to your lips, and as the water touches your lips, the top begins to spin again. Bzzz.
This is some good water.
No, Obek, no. She like snatches it out of your hand again.
Yeah, so you, yeah, absolutely, and yeah, the ladle goes toppling over again.
I have the same reaction, but not for the same reason. I grab his wrist and just sort of march purposefully towards Garfield.
Okay, Obek, you follow.
Can I please have some water?
Yeah. Obek,
No, Obek, not now.
Obek reaches longingly
We
for
must
the water.
go.
Bad, Obek. Bad.
Sit, Obek, sit.
Obek's going to kill all the humans.
the way, you're way stronger than me, so if you at any point wanted to not go...
He really is not. He really is
He's
not.
a tiny little lizardman. You're probably dragging him, and he's probably just got his arms crossed in frustration. Is the way I am going to picture it in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So you make it to Mayor Garfield, who appears to be like... He's got a lantern, and he's like going through all the housing units, like checking and making sure and saying goodnight to everybody, and making sure everybody's safe and sound. And you approach him pointedly, and he kind of like shines the light, holds the light up, and he says, yes. Yes, Aelin, I believe it was. Yes? Yes. What can I do for you?
I hate to bother you at this late hour, but I have to ask you, this may be a strange question, but where's the water source come from again? You mentioned it briefly.
Well, there are deep rivers and aqueducts that reside underneath the stone of Middenheim. We were lucky enough to tap into one here at this location. It bubbles up from those great pools.
And do they run from any other part of the city down this way? I know it's a strange question, and you might not know the answer to that.
Well, I think you have the right of it. I know not the answer of that question, as I am but a simple tavern owner.
And you'd say you've been drinking from this well for approximately how long?
Oh, I would say it's been about 2 months since I found this place.
Great. And I think Ayla's just kind of like trying to process everything and obviously not entirely sure how to tell this man about what she's going to say. She says, I know this is a very odd request, but until I figure out a little bit more, could you please refrain from drinking from the well just for a little bit?
Yeah, and I think he kind of looks at you, and I'm gonna need a persuasion check. And it's gonna be hard, because you may have clout everywhere else, but this is a man, and he's just trying to help his people survive, and telling him they can't use the water source is not going to be easy.
You can use that inspiration?
Heck yeah, I'm using that inspiration.
Do it.
Hey.
Ooh.
Okay.
I think that...
Aelin gives him the Bambi eyes.
Yeah, so I think that you can see he seems skeptical. And I think it's clear that he doesn't want to acquiesce with your request. So I think instead he says, well, how about this? Let us see if we can figure out what you say is wrong with the water. But I will not prevent my people from consuming the life-giving source. We have till the end of the night. What say you to that?
Yes, that's fine. Yes, if you could come back this way with me. And she's already like off.
Yeah, and he like you see him turn, and he goes down a couple of more rows to say goodbye to his people, like, you know, to tell them goodnight and make sure everything is well with them. And then he follows at like a much slower pace. So you're probably doing a thing where like you run ahead and then you come back, and then you run ahead and then you come back and then you run ahead, because he's moving at his own pace for this. Meanwhile, Obek, what are you doing?
Obek is still angrily staring at Aelin and contemplating how much he wants to drink the water. Also, the haunting possibility of him haunting her. It sounds appealing at this point.
Yes.
Also, I assume Daniela is near us, but I would have grabbed her during some point of this.
Yeah, and I think she's with you on this, but also it's not really her thing. It's your thing, so she is probably a bit kind of like, yeah, you know, we should look into this, but also preventing people from drinking water is not in her playbook either, but she'll do what you say for now.
Well, purely because she looks slightly more intimidating than I do, so...
Yeah, absolutely. So you get him back to the water, and I think that begin working on that, and I want to go for our final scene to our two invisible Invisigranny And
Call them what they are, ne'er-do-wells.
Yeah, ne'er-do-wells. Yeah.
I do very well, thank you. I am legitimately employed to save people.
Correct. So
I got paid for the first time in years, so
that's true. That's true. Have you ever been invisible before, Farron?
I'm sure there's been one or two occasions.
Okay.
Where it's not a
Alright.
regular thing.
Sure. I was
Just a
asking
reminder,
because to.
don't-
Go
Just
ahead.
don't hit anything or cast any spells. It's not that robust.
Right, and also, this disorienting fact of, like, not being able to see where your feet are, and not being able to, like, see your hands, like, because imagine if you couldn't see where your hand was grabbing the doorknob, you would have to work on touch. It'd be almost like being blind, but being able to see. I know that's a weird way to put it, but,
It's purely spatial awareness.
Yeah. I think your depth
See.
perception would be affected more than anything in this situation. So the two of you head out and cross the courtyard quite deftly. Now, the gates to the courtyard of Ulrich, there are no, like, wrought iron gates or anything. It's very open. And so there's not, like, people linked in arms to prevent you from going in. So it's a fairly easy affair to kind of just walk in to the location. And I think that... So what's the plan? So there's the big grate main doors. There's a couple of side doors. You can see the facility here. If we just look at it, you can see there's two outlying buildings, one here and one here, and then there's these covered walkways, and they're 2 stories. The lower portion is just that, a covered walkway that leads over to the main building, and then the upper portion is actually an actual part of the building itself that connects, like a long, internal hallway that connects over to the second level of this building. And then the larger building has an additional 3rd level. And kind of up along everything, there are some doors that lead into some places. There are some, obviously, windows, a lot of stained glass here. And then, obviously, there's the big old main double doors. So where do you guys want to, like, make your entrance? Well, and also that's the thing, like, are you going to try and, like, open a door while invisible? And just to be more clear, there's obviously, like, a door on each of these outlying buildings. There's probably a door, like, underneath the walkway here, and underneath the walkway on this side as well. And then there's probably like a separate entrance kind of off to the side, and then the main double doors, just to make it, like, perfectly clear where all the doors and stuff are.
I assume we would be going for whichever door we think is least likely to be noticed, at least from the outside.
Yeah, probably. I would honestly say you probably do, like, you stand there for a little bit and see where the traffic is going through, and there's not a whole lot of traffic coming in and out. But this door back here to this outlying building is mostly hidden because the guards and stuff are, like, out here, and so they can't see. Because if we imagine that the door itself is, like, right here along this side of the wall, right? With me on that, guys?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's probably your best bet as far as, like, hidden doors go. So I assume you walk up to that one and maybe look for an opening and crank it open and step inside?
Yeah.
Yeah, someone's acting as lookout. I guess it's not locked or barred in any way.
Yeah, so it's not locked or barred in any way. You turn the handle and it turns cleanly and begins to push inward. And I think that when you do that, it's not lit inside. There's nothing lit, but luckily I think both of you have dark vision, so that's not going to matter all that much.
He's human.
Oh, true. So
I have.
yeah, you have dark vision, so maybe Farron is the lookout.
Yeah.
And so you peek inside, Jericho, and you push open the door. Dust kind of wafts upward. Clearly, this entrance hasn't been used for some time. And what you see inside is this appears to be like a stockpile where a whole bunch of like, not garbage, but like where all of the relics and statues and shit from inside of the temple appears to have all been brought out and just dumped in this room. So it's like a I wouldn't call it a treasure trove either, but it is a storage area where there are probably hundreds of like broken busts, probably like all of the like desks and chairs and pews and stuff are probably like crashed in here. Most of them are probably shattered and broken. There's probably like a couple of pulpits that have just been kind of dumped in here, sitting in a few pieces. Basically everything that you would expect to find inside of the main like church hall have all been dumped in this room.
Cannot wait to find out what they were making room for.
So you I assume, because again, you can't see each other either, I assume you know where Farron is standing and kind of like slap him and pull him inside.
We can do the buddy system thing, always keep a hand on the other person.
Yeah, so maybe he's got like a hand on your shoulder and you start to walk in and he follows you in and you close the door quietly. Farron, you can kind of like see dimly, like we can, like I've described and shown in the you can kind of see dimly and like maneuver your way around, but it is dark and you can't really see like what stuff is.
I try not to step on anything that's probably sacrilegious.
Yeah, so like you step over like a tapestry that appears to be thrown in there, and yeah. Totally. So where are you guys gonna go? Are you guys gonna like go up to the second level and then cross? Like cross here?
I mean, clearly they've been moving a ton of stuff out of whatever the main hall of worship would be, presumably to make room for something, so I'd like to find out what that is.
Yeah, that's our kind of main port of call.
So the two of you scamper up to the second level, and there's probably, more dust kind of rises because this place hasn't been used. And you open a door that's kind of right on the edge here that leads out in that into that hallway. And this part is like semi-lit, like every other torch is lit as opposed to just every single one. So there's a little bit of light that kind of just like shines in here, and it is a little bit dusty as well because it clearly hasn't been used either. And as you guys are kind of like moving down the hallway, you can see out the windows. You can see on either side of the hallway there are some windows that kind of peer out down upon the grounds. And as you enter over here, you pull open the door and you're on the second level, and it's like a loft. And there's a spiral staircase that descends directly down to the first level. And so I assume you guys take that down to the first level because there's no other place to go from the second level right here. You descend down to the first level and you hit flagstone. And each of you roll me a perception check. Okay.
Not the best rolls from this session.
So you can hear noise. It sounds maybe like humming, or maybe like there's perhaps some tapping or something, but you can't really discern what it is. But it appears to be coming from the main vestibule. And there's a couple of doors that lead in there. And then there's a staircase that leads up onto like the second level, presumably onto like the loft area that's in the back of the like hall. The actual like would be like behind the pulpit.
Sure, sounds totally safe.
Okay. So you guys want to enter through like down on the ground level, or do you want to go up to the second level, kind of behind where all of the like the pulpit and where the priest would be speaking, and then there's some designs. There's probably like a big symbol that's supposed to hang up behind him, and then you guys would kind of be like on a loft behind that, kind of overlooking the whole grand cathedral area.
Sure.
Okay.
Overlooking is probably more sensible than standing
totally.
right next to.
Totally. So you guys ascend the stairs, another set of spiral staircase. You ascend up there, and you kind of make your way out onto, and there's a wooden banister that's painted like this whitish color, and this place back here appears to be untouched, unfazed by the destruction that occurred within here, and within the rest of the temple that you've seen. And you can see where there used to be like in fact, it's probably still there. They probably didn't move it. It was a giant wolf head that used to hang kind of right in front of where you're standing right now. It has been cut down and is smashed to pieces all on the ground. And so it's kind of very open where you are, and there's like the traditional like red carpeting that kind of runs throughout this area here. You can see some gold inlaid stuff that like runs up the pillars and then across the archways that make up the grand cathedral area. But I know, much to Jericho's dismay, but also no surprise, it is clear that they were making room for something, and I think that when you enter into this room, you can hear immediately what's going on. There appears to be chanting ongoing, and as you gaze out over the large open area that used to be where all the pews used to sit, there is probably the largest circle of magic that either of you have ever seen. And there appears to be no less than 24 individuals who appear to be kneeling around the circle. And positioned immediately in the middle of it is a small stand that has a book on it. It looks like it looks like a book display, right? Like a book stand. And the book is closed, but it's also hovering ever so slightly over the book stand, and appears to be rotating very slowly. And from this distance, it's hard to tell what exactly it is, but I think both of you understand that there are very... There are very powerful waves of magic that are kind of washing through here. And I think that it's so powerful that it's palpable. And both of you feel a little bit sick to your stomach. What do you do?
I don't suppose you want to read that.
Not particularly. This has bad juju written all over it.
Yeah. And so I think that the final thing we see is we see an individual enter in from like beneath you, from like the back rooms. So from beneath you enters in, and it's a tall figure in like a very black, very padded like cloak. His right arm appears to be in some sort of sling because he's holding it very close to his body, and you can tell like it's wrapped up. And comes walking in with a staff in one hand that kind of jangles with all of these different talismans and stuff attached to it. And he enters over, and you see as he reaches the edge of the circle, he raises his staff and kind of almost like brings it down with his arm held straight out, and almost like cuts like you're cutting a piece of cake. And you can see a shimmer kind of surround, you can see like this shimmer surrounding the circle now. And you can see he basically steps in as one would like step into a tent that they've unzipped. And as he turns back around and he raises it back up. And you can see for a moment he kind of like looks around, like in the general area of where he came from. And he raises his head almost as if he's like trying to smell something. And then he just shakes his head, and he turns back around, and you can see him walk with his staff up to the book. And he rests the staff in a little holder next to it, and you can see he kind of like unravels his cloak, and we can see that there's a bandage kind of around his shoulder, and a little blood is seeped through on either side. And he kind of picks that arm up and sets it down on the book stand, and then he opens up the book, and you can see him begin tracing lines with his good hand, and appears to be doing something, but you can't hear or see or do anything because his back is to you. And I think that's probably the final scene that we see.
Oh god, the huge demon's gonna be summoned and we're right next to it.
Isn't that how it always goes?
Yeah, standard Tuesday.
I mean, Brian would know about huge demons being summoned right next to him.
Yeah, no kidding.
So,
I mean, Farron's actually the one that's had the worst dealings with demons. I mean, you just had to run away from one. I got a huge gash across my chest.
that's true. You did take a pretty nasty critical injury from that.
I fell from the sky, Farron.
It's true.
Fell
He
from the
did fall
sky.
from the sky. Inspiration. Who do you guys think deserves inspiration?
Jordan.
Luckily, I have 2 to give already.
Well, obviously not me, because I was late. So.
Disqualified for being late.
Yes. I do apologize for that.
It's fine. It happens, man. I ain't worried about it. I ain't sweating it.
As ever, I enjoyed Aelin both not taking any particular interest in the goals of the party except as they relate to her own, and yet still finding ways to become directly
Useful.
involved with our concerns and goals.
I don't know. I'm starting to hate Aelin just a little bit.
Let's be clear. Obek is starting to hate Aelin just a little bit.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
right.
know. I don't know. It always
Well,
seems to
Brian,
be me that gets
I thought
drawn
we
into
were-
her schemes.
It's true. No matter
Well-
what character you have.
Be it short but brief, Jericho's Old Woman act.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, yes!
Yeah, I think that was...
I mean, that was like
vote.
half a sentence.
Listen, it was worth
Sometimes that's what happens. I was actually... I was going to suggest because... using the tools at your disposal. My other one was actually going to go to Farron for assisting with like the plan to like what your cover story was. I liked your guys' cover story really well, and so I think if the group votes for Jericho, I vote for Farron.
Okay, but you have 2 to give.
I do have 2 to give, and I think that the next one goes to Doc Manic, obviously.
Get wrecked.
I'm kidding, of course. Let's see. Who do I think gets the other one? Well, I think that I have to go with Aelin, because she was the other vote from the party, as well. Because I mean, I think you all did a great job, so I'm gonna go with who was voted by the party a second time. So, Aelin, you can have inspiration as well.
Thank you.
I will not accept it.
I don't think I did that great, but then again, I didn't really say or do a whole lot this session.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like I was
Which
a little bit
happens.
Solo murder a bunch of people.
To be honest, I feel I was
Soon,
a bit
TM,
distracted.
soon.
I feel like I was a bit distracted this session.
Yes, you were. It was
Yeah, that's your own
Wow.
damn
What?
fault.
No, Jackson distracted? Nah,
But
man. It's like that gif of Will Smith where he's like, psst, nah, like that. Nah.
That deep cut with Will Smith.
Yeah. That's all I got, guys. I hope you guys had fun.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah, I fun.
Next week we will we'll get into.
Wait, you forgot something.
What did I forget?
Experience.
We're staying at level 10 for now. I think that next, when we complete this storyline, we'll start gaining XP and doing the thing again. So, but yeah, I loved today. Today was fun. Next week we'll get into how you guys are going to deal with lieutenants / whatever the fuck this ritual is /
I'm hoping
whatever
for
the
a
hell
lot of murder hobos.
whatever the hell Aelin is dealing with and going crazy about / Obek.
mountain climbing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, / Kree perhaps leading a mountain climbing expedition because he has a
Definitely looking
tunneling
forward to
lizard.
that.
So
How many failed athletic saves?
quite a few, I would bet. That's all I got. I hope you guys had fun. I'm gonna do outro.
All
I'll
right.
either see you in a few
Bye,
minutes or I'll see you
guys.
next week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Alright, guys. I'm glad you all could make it. It was a hell of a time. Really greatly enjoyed it. From all of us to you, thank you. Thank you. It was a lot of fun. Come back next week. We'll see the epic conclusion of all those storylines, hopefully. And we're in the final phase here in Siege, I think. I think it's all coming together now. So you gotta stay tuned. Otherwise, you're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss it. Don't miss it. See you next week, everybody.